up, boys and girls? I am waiting for some customers to come out to pick up the elm cookie that you saw, and another customer come out and pick through some junk out here. And I'm going to put together a lumber bunk, and I'm going to show you how I do it. The lumber bunks that I make are basically out of scrap that are sitting around out here in the yard, and they will keep themselves flat regardless of where I put them down. So if you remember the log that we cut the other day, we got the 4x4s and we got some top stock out of it. We're going to make a lumber bunk out of that as I look for Danny, make sure he's close by. And I'm going to show you how to do it. Pretty simple. It doesn't cost anything other than fasteners. And most of these fasteners I have lying around from doing jobs. I got a pretty good stash, so we need to go through them anyway, and let's get to getting. So if you guys don't follow along, my name's Bill. This is Pirate Solutions Forestry, and Danny the dog is off in the woods over here, and I'm trying to get him to come back. And what we're doing is we're trying to make a heavy-duty lumber bunk, very similar to the one that all this lumber sitting on top of right now. Now what we need is two runners, the big beam front and back. We're going to need three runners on the bottom so our forks can go underneath it. We want to set our width, and what I'm going to do to set my width is that I'm going to take a measurement on my top stock here to try to turn it into whatever makes sense. And these are 124 to the short point. And what that means is if I divide that by 3, so I get 3 boards out of each, my lumber bunk needs to be 41 inches wide. And 41 inches is a good width. What you don't want to do is you don't want to creep out to that 48 where it won't fit on pallet forks. So 41 is a good width. So we have to cut 3 runners at 41 inches to attach to the 4x4s. Then we'll flip the 4x4s over and we'll top it with the material that's here, and we'll get 3 boards out of each, and we should have plenty. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to cut myself 3 runners to attach to the 4x4s out of this black oak stock that I have sitting here. This is 2 inches thick, and it's a pretty nice board. There's a couple of punky spots on it to where I wouldn't want to sell it as or use it as a 2x6 or something like that, or it looks closer to 4. It's actually 4.5. Perfect junk lying around on the ground to do for runners here, and I need to cut 3 41-inch boards. It doesn't need to be any secret squirrel super square stuff going on. These can be pretty basic. Now this is not the way that, if you follow Robert Milton, it's not the way Robert Milton makes his, or some people. However, this is the way I make mine. And what it does is, if you look around, like the one that's sitting over here and the one that this is sitting on top of, just a place to put lumber down, stack lumber, wait for a customer to come get it, etc., etc., etc. So I do tend to cut fairly square, and I can build an entire deck for somebody's house just using a circular saw and a screw gun for the most part. So I cut fairly square. But these don't need to be anything special. I'm going to flip this one around because I get some kind of more good end on the other side here. Actually, I'll leave it like this and measure 41 from that side. The ends don't need to be squared up. This doesn't need to be anything. I know when I watch Robert, who is wonderful, he's an absolute mental giant in what he does. He talks about having your runners planed perfect and all that. Well, mine aren't sitting around on concrete. Mine is sitting around in the yard. and there's nothing really special about them. So I am going to get my topping boards off the deck here, and we'll put the base part together first. And like I said, based on the measurement, I should get 3 boards out of each. Now, based on what you have for what I have for fasteners lying around is going to determine what I use for fasteners to put these together. I can tell you that I have a box of 4-inch timber locks lying around. So I'm going to use those to fasten the runners to the base, because it's going to give me the best opportunity to kind of give them a chance of staying securely fastened over time. Let's get this kind of set out here. We're going to measure the center of these to put the center runner in. Not sure what the overall length is here. 124. So the center is going to be 62. So we're just going to mark 62 here. Check it from the other end just to make sure that my mathematics are correct. It's close. The ends aren't even, so it's 62 1/4 that way. You can see the ends aren't even, or I can see the ends aren't even. You can't. From the same end, I'm going to mark 62. And then I'm going to take my width of the boards, which is 4.5, so 2 1/4 each way. And 1, 2 1/4. Don't even need to square these up really. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. It'll actually go is 2 1/4, 4.5. This is just going to, if you put everything in at the right spot, it's going to keep your structure square. And we're going to screw these things down. We know that we're going to want them 41 outside to outside. Perfect. And another person that I watch a lot is Sawdust and Sweat. If you watch Steve, the old timer, Steve is really, really good at building stuff. And one thing that he says, which is not sure that I totally believe it, is that you want to wear as little as you can on you for the job that you're doing. Well, the thing about my tool belt is that I have every single possible thing on the history of the planet inside this tool belt to do every single task that there is. I just happen to have a timber lock bit in here. So we are going to start zapping some timber locks in here. You don't have to use timber locks if you don't have them. I just happen to have boxes of them lying around. We're going to put one in each right now in the first iteration here so that we can square this up later. These are only here to set it on the ground and have it so that I can get under it with forks. Good boy. And we'll flip this thing over and we'll kind of square it up. Just check it real quick, just for, so it needs to go that way. Let's check them all. Needs to go that way. Needs to go that way. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it the way Robert Milton says. I know that he has Nathan from Out in the Woods does it the same way, and these guys are, you know, monster sawmill guys. So should you follow them? Absolutely. Just gonna double check it. Yep, it needs to come out this way. I can pull against it like that. Double check it. I think I might have gone too far. Oh, damn, it's almost perfect. Oh my God, it is perfect. It's perfect just like it is right here. And we will double check it after we flip it over in case it moves. Let's check another spot. It's pretty freak. It's really good right now. Yeah, it's perfect. It's as perfect as it needs to be. And now we'll see if we can flip it over. We're going to pull it off the side, get our fingers under it. This should sit on this bunk because this bunk is pretty wide. I think I can go down that way just a little bit. Yep. And we'll set the thing down. Should have room for my fingers here. Recheck the square. Okay. I should just be able to pull this back that way just a little bit. Perfect. And we're going to put the topping on it. All right, so let's go at 41-inch lengths on these. Now, the way the math works out on this is that divides by 40, it's 41.33, so they actually be a little bit, there's a little bit of room for the curve here. Probably going to end up maybe gapping that one, maybe pull it over a little bit. It doesn't need to be filled. So, got all my topping down, swap out my battery. We'll start screwing it together. Oh, need some more screws. Got to grab some screws out of the box. And then we'll chalk a line, we'll rip that other side off, and we got ourselves another lumber bunk. That will, the key is to, that my forks will go all the way through and pick it up from the other side. So if you make them too wide, if you make these too wide like this one was, and you can see I had to do a repair to it and actually put a stringer in there. I was trying to split. What happened with this one was I was trying to split size of the material I was using, I wasn't thinking. And I made it wider than 4 feet. So what'll happen is when you come all the way in with the carriage and you fork up, your forks will bust out the boards on the top. So I had to add runners inside, screwed into these, and then I added another runner next to it to give me a little bit of fudge room, say like, almost 6 inches on both sides. So when the forks go underneath, they go under those and not push up through the boards and bust them out. All right, so that's all that. That's that bunk put together. Let me grab a chalk line. And what we'll do is we'll chalk a line down this side. We'll rip this side off. So I'm just going to put my pencil against the edge, bring my square over to my pencil, mark the top, go do the other end, same way. The other end's flush, so that makes it easy. If you have a situation like this where you don't have something to hook it to, put your knife right in your pencil line, kind of carve in a little bit, make a little V. Now I can hook it underneath anywhere, stick it in the V, come down, go right to that corner, and whatever side that your shoe is going to sit on flat, which is this way, that's the way you should rip. We're going to set the depth of the saw exactly to just a shade bigger than the thickness of the material. And then, in the case that this one's square, I'm just going to get myself started there, and then follow my line. Perfect. And I'll show you that. Now we have another lumber bunk. 10'4". Nice and flush on the back side. Nice and flush on the front side. With 3 runners under it that are thick enough. Make sure you don't skimp on those. They need to be 2 inches thick for your bobcat or your forks to get underneath them. But now we get another lumber bunk or a deck for a farmer's porch, or I am going to put a farmer's porch removable one on the front of that shed so I can sit out there with uprights and a roof that fits underneath the other one, and it'll be movable. I got to do a little bit of groundwork over there and set some blocks and get some elevations, but they'll just be just like this with uprights on it and a slanted roof. But now I get another lumber bunk, and away we go. I hope you guys are having a great day. Danny and I are having a good day. He's coming back. See him over there? He's hunting through. But can never have enough lumber bunks. Let me say that again. You can never have enough lumber bunks. And if you're like me, where you've got tons of wood that's aging, like I don't know if you can see that pile up at the tip of my finger. That's all aging. That stuff up there, I could take it now because some of it's a little punky on the outside and just tear them down on the sawmill and make bunks like this. And they're stackable and everything else. And what they'll do is they'll sit flat no matter where I put them, kind of like that one behind it there with the big 6x6 or 6x6 or 8x8 runners on it, and the one that's underneath it right there. And that's nice because I don't have to worry about where I put them down. As long as it's not something stupid, if it's something close, they stay flat, and the lumber stays flat on top of them. So that's it. That's what we got going on. That's the end of the video. Danny and I are going to start cleaning up out here. He'll be happy when I tell him that we're starting to get cleaned up. He always gets excited because he gets to go back in the house. And it's just that simple, guys. I mean, you got two 4x4s, two 2x4s, as long as, I mean, one 2x4 as long as it's 12 feet long in this case, and just a bunch of scrap edgings. You can do it with what's up on top right here that needs to be edged off, or what's in that pile over there that needs to be edged off. Anything. It's really simple. You can leave the bark on them. You don't have to take the bark off. You know, you can leave that and end up leaving gaps in the middle. I've done it that way too. It's perfectly fine. It's just a place to put lumber down, and I always need places to put lumber down where I can sticker them and have them flat for customers to pick up. Just like that customer order that's waiting right there, those 16-foot 2 by 10 and 3/8 for Ralph's medevac trailer. Exactly the same thing. So that's it. And Danny and I are out. Have a great day. Hit me up with questions, comments, whatever. For now, Power Solutions out.